Auschwitz concentration camp in Auschwitz Ii. Auschwitz II-Birkenau, a concentration and extermination camp with gas chambers. Auschwitz III Monowitz, a labor camp for the chemical conglomerate IG Farben. And dozens of sub-camps. The camps became a major site of the Nazis' final solution to the Jewish question. After Germany sparked World War II by invading Poland in September 1939, the Schutzstaffel converted Auschwitz I, an army barracks, into a prisoner of war camp. The initial transport of political detainees to Auschwitz consisted nearly solely of Poles to whom the camp was initially established. The bulk of inmates were Polish for the first 2 years. In May 1940, German criminals brought to the camp as functionaries established the camp's reputation for sadism. Prisoners were beaten, tortured, and executed for the most trivial reasons. The first gassings of Soviet and Polish prisoners took place in Block 11 of Auschwitz I around August 1941. Construction of Auschwitz II began the following month, and from 1942 until late 1944 freight trains delivered Jews from all over German-occupied Europe to its gas chambers. Of the 1.3 million people sent to Auschwitz, 1.1 million died. The death toll includes 960,000 Jews, 74,000 ethnic Poles, 21,000 Roma, 15,000 Soviet prisoners of war, and up to 15,000 other Europeans. Those not gassed died of starvation, exhaustion, disease, individual executions, or beatings. Others were killed during medical experiments. At least 802 prisoners tried to escape, 144 successfully, and on the 7th of October 1944 two Sonderkommando units, consisting of prisoners who operated the gas chambers, launched an unsuccessful uprising. Only 789 Schutzstaffel personnel ever stood trial after the Holocaust ended. Several were executed, including Camp Commandant Rudolf Höss. The Allies' failure to act on early reports of atrocities by bombing the camp or its railways remains controversial. As the Soviet Red Army approached Auschwitz in January 1945, toward the end of the war, the SS sent most of the camp's population west on a death march to camps inside Germany and Austria. Soviet troops entered the camp on the 27th of January 1945. A day commemorated since 2005 as International Holocaust Remembrance Day. In the decades after the war, survivors such as Primo Levi, Viktor Frankl, and Elie Wiesel wrote memoirs of their experiences, and the camp became a dominant symbol of the Holocaust in 1947. Poland founded the Auschwitz-Birkenau State Museum on the site of Auschwitz I and II. And in 1979 it was named a World Heritage Site by UNESCO. The ideology of National Socialism combined elements of racial hygiene, eugenics, anti-Semitism, pan-Germanism, and territorial expansionism. Richard J. Evans writes, Adolf Hitler and his Nazi party became obsessed by the Jewish question. Both during and immediately after the Nazi seizure of power in Germany in 1933. Acts of violence against German Jews became ubiquitous, and legislation was passed excluding them from certain professions, including the civil service and the law. Harassment and economic pressure encouraged Jews to leave Germany. Their businesses were denied access to markets, forbidden from advertising in newspapers, and deprived of government contracts. On the 15th of September 1935, the Reichstag passed the Nuremberg laws. The Reich citizenship law defined as citizens those of German or related blood who demonstrate by their behavior that they are willing and suitable to serve the German people and Reich faithfully. And the law for the protection of German blood and German honor prohibited marriage and extramarital relations between those with German or related blood and Jews. When Germany invaded Poland in September 1939, triggering World War II, Hitler ordered that the Polish leadership and intelligentsia be destroyed. The area around Auschwitz was annexed to the German Reich as part of First Gau Silesia and from 1941 Gau Upper Silesia. The camp at Auschwitz was established in April 1940, at first as a quarantine camp for Polish political prisoners. On the 22nd of June 1941, in an attempt to obtain new territory, Hitler invaded the Soviet Union. The first gassing at Auschwitz of a group of Soviet prisoners of war took place around August 1941. By the end of that year, during what most historians regard as the first phase of the Holocaust, 500,000 to 800,000 Soviet Jews had been killed in mass shootings by a combination of German Einsatzgruppen, ordinary German soldiers, and local collaborators. At the Wannsee Conference in Berlin on 20 January 1942, Reinhard Heydrich outlined the final solution to the Jewish question to senior Nazis. And from early 1942, freight trains delivered Jews from all over occupied Europe to German extermination camps in Poland, Auschwitz, Belzec, Chelmno, Majdanek, Sobibor, and Treblinka. Most prisoners were gassed on arrival. A former World War I camp for transient workers and later a Polish army barracks. Auschwitz I was the main camp and admin.